My name is Fragger Mike. Now make sure that your sound is on and put this video on full screen, because in the next 10 to 20 minutes I have 3 promises for you. The first promise is that we're gonna increase the likelihood of you succeeding in Fortnite competitive by 72%. The second promise is that I'm gonna explain the true power of VOD reviews. And the third promise is that you're gonna make a smart decision today. Now let's begin with a fun fact. Did you know that people who write down their goal on paper, they are 42% more likely to achieve that goal? This might sound unbelievable, but it's actually backed by research. So what I want you to do right now is pause this video and get a piece of paper and write down exactly what your goal is in this game. Don't continue this video unless you have done exactly that. Now are you ready? There are 2 types of people. The people who pause the video, those are the action takers and they wrote down their goal on paper. And we have the passive learners. Now you can probably guess which one of these actually get results in life. It's the action takers, of course. If you're just gonna be a passive learner, then this is not gonna work. Because I'm a coach, I'm trying to teach you things. And if you don't apply what I teach, then we're both just wasting our time here. Now the next lesson is that setting a deadline is a terrible idea. And I'm gonna explain why. It's because human beings are naturally pain avoidant, just like any animal. So we're trying to avoid as much pain as possible. And what happens when people set goals? They set a deadline that is unrealistic, because they can't wrap their mind around the fact that it's gonna take years of hard work before they actually achieve the goal of going pro. So they set goals like, I want to be a pro within 6 months or within a year. And they set these unrealistic time frames. And then what happens is they get closer and closer to their deadline. And then they notice, oh shit, I haven't been making that much progress at all. So they feel like they're failing and they're falling behind, even though they might be making great progress in all that time. And another thing you gotta keep in mind with Fortnite competitive is that the PR graphs are always exponential. This is the Fortnite tracker of the pro player Kami, one of my favorite pros by the way. But as you can see at the start of his competitive career, you see this very stagnant line where it seems like he's making 0 progress, even though he's probably grinding his ass off. And then all of a sudden, his PR just skyrockets and he makes almost $1 million in online earnings. Now imagine Kami set a deadline to hit like 40k PR at this point right here. And then he noticed, oh shit, I haven't achieved the goal, so now I'm a failure and he might quit. Now imagine Kami quit somewhere around this time. Then we never would have seen him rise to the top, right? So the best thing for you to do is just to let go of all deadlines, let go of all time frames, and just keep going until the goal has been accomplished. Now this is a very big sacrifice, and that's why we need to talk about motivation. Now there's a very good quote by a philosopher called Friedrich Nietzsche. He said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." And what this basically means is that if you have a strong enough reason to do something, if you have enough motivation, then you can withstand any challenge. You can just keep going even though life throws you challenges, throws you problems and difficulties. And that is why it's so important to know your reason behind going pro in Fortnite competitive. And the most common ones are listed right here. So on number 1 we see, I want to become the best. So you want to master this game, you want to be one of the best in the world. The second form of motivation is, I want to be a known pro. So you want some form of recognition, you want to be known as a pro, right? The third one is, I want to make money or earnings. And lastly, I want to make progress. Maybe you are just in love with making progress. Maybe you love grinding Kovacs because you just see your score going up and up and up and your skill of aiming just increases every day. Now these are the types of motivations where you are working towards a better future. These are desire motivations. But there are also pain motivations. And these are motivations where you're trying to run away from pain. And what did I tell you before? Human beings are naturally pain avoidant. So maybe a classmate at school made fun of you and he was like, yeah, you're never gonna be a pro in Fortnite. And your motivation is, I want to prove him or her wrong. A second motivation could be, I hate being a nobody. You feel like you haven't really accomplished anything in life and you want to be successful in something. Another motivation could be, I want to be better than that person. So you compare yourself to someone else and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna outcompete that person. And lastly, I hate living an average life. So maybe you just fear mediocrity and living like a normal person. You want to live an exceptional life. Now when you find your form of motivation, it could be in these lists or it could be something else, then I want you to write it down, because this actually increases your likelihood of achievement by another 30%. So I want you to write down not only what your goal is, but also the motivation behind it. So once again, pause the video right now and do it. Be an action taker. Now, are you 100% sure? Then give this your 100%. Just like David Goggins, right? You're 100%, not 99, not 98, not 60, not 50. You're 100%. Now, the first promise I made for you today is that we're going to increase your likelihood of achievement by 72%. The second promise is that I'm going to explain the true power of VOD reviews. So when you have written down your form of motivation, the next step is to reverse engineer success. And this is actually a very interesting topic because most people, they set goals, but they don't really know how to achieve them. And that's because they approach it the wrong way. You actually have to approach it backwards. And it sounds backwards, but it's actually very interesting. So sometimes the fastest way to find out how you need to succeed is just by avoiding all of the ways you can fail. So this is a big list of 10 things that guarantee that you fail at going pro in this game. If you don't grind, so not grinding, wasting your time on distractions, bad mentality, not learning from mistakes, unmotivated, no energy, quitting because of school, parents stop you from playing, bad equipment or settings, mindlessly grinding, or being too nervous in tournaments. All of these things will lead to failure. And if you can avoid these things or reverse them, so reverse engineering success, then you're going to make a lot more progress and be a lot more successful. And these are the types of topics I'm going to discuss inside Fortnite Academy. But along with the real life problems, there are also in-game problems, and we need to approach it in the exact same way. We need to reverse engineer success. So this is data from someone who sent me a scrim spreadsheet. So he played 100 scrims and he VOD reviewed all of them. And he wrote down what the mistake was, the main mistake in each game. So you can see right here, he dies to bad aim 29% of the time, which is crazy. Another big topic for him is bad awareness, bad game sense, bad rotations, bad positioning. When you have this information, you know what to focus on. And this is very important because now you can make smart decisions. Maybe it's like, oh shit, my aim is so bad. Maybe I need to buy Kovacs and train Kovacs 1 hour a day. Maybe I need to go in aim duels for a lot of time. Like he needs to practice his aim in many different ways. Maybe like the headshot only map, whatever. But he needs to do something about his aim. And this is the way you succeed in Fortnite competitive. You figure out your weaknesses and then you fix them. And here is a lot more data from a lot more players. Now, my VOD viewing process looks like this. When something happens, when X happens, you typically respond with Y, okay? So you do Y and then you die. And you notice, okay, Y is a mistake because Y leads to me dying. And then you have to come up with a new plan. So when X happens again, I will do Z instead, and then you survive. So now here's an example. When someone pre-edits on us, the most typical thing people do is we panic. That is what most people do if you pre-edit on them. And then they die. So you have to come up with a new plan. So next time someone pre-edits on you, you should, for instance, immediately leave the box. And then you survive. But you have to know beforehand what your plan is to certain situations. So if someone pre-edits on you, what do you do? For instance, what happens in duos a lot is that one player tries to leave the box and then the other player tries to 50-50 aim duel. And then you have like a 1v2 aim duel and the other guy is just not helping at all, trying to, run away. And then it just leads to chaos, right? And you just die. You die, you literally die. So you have to come up with a new plan so you survive. If you don't do this, you enter the danger zone. And this is when X happens, you respond with Y, and then you die. And then when X happens again, you just keep doing Y and you just don't improve. You just keep dying over and over to the same mistake. And this is why some players fail to qualify week after week, staying stuck in the same division with no noticeable improvement. Now here's another fun fact. Did you know that athletes who train with a coach improve 2 to 3 times faster than if they trained alone? And this is not surprising because coaches, they will give you feedback, they will give you pointers, they will see all of the mistakes you're making and they will tell you ways to fix those mistakes. And this is consistent across all sports. It doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, tennis, Formula 1 or Fortnite competitive. The pro players of each sport, they sit down with a coach after the tournament and they analyze all of their mistakes. They can spot all of these different tactics and ways to win. So I hope you now understand the true power of VOD reviews. VOD reviews is the only way to succeed. Now the third promise I made you is that you were gonna make a smart decision today. And that is why I'm very excited to announce the ultimate VOD review session. This is gonna be a 3-hour coaching call with a group of maybe 5 to 10 people, where I will take you through my VOD reviewing process. Because maybe you can figure out your mistakes by yourself. But to figure out all of the solutions, that's gonna take so much time and effort to gain all of that experience. Whereas with me, I can just tell you, like you can do 1, 2 or 3, A, B or C. I can just tell you what to do in every situation. Not only do I have experience from competing myself and actually getting some pretty good good placements even in 2025 as a 20-year-old. But I've also coached and VOD reviewed hundreds of people by now. So if you want to book a session and join me on the ultimate VOD review, it's gonna cost you $49.99. And I know for some of you this might be expensive, but you're going to pay for this information anyways. You're either gonna pay with months of your time and effort, struggling in your tournaments, not really figuring out what your problems are and how to fix them. Or you can just bypass all of that struggle and just get one session with me and get all of that information within a couple of hours. You could see it as one of your investments. You had to invest in a good keyboard, in a good mouse, in a good headset, and a good PC to hold stable frames in endgames. All in the name of trying to go pro in this game. Now, if you are just a casual player and you're not really trying to go pro in this game, you're just trying to have some fun, then you might as well, buy some skins instead. But if your goal is to make a lot of progress and go pro in this game, then this is only going to benefit you. This will never decrease the likelihood of you achieving your goal. This is only going to help you make more progress. So it's going to be valuable. So if the amount of money is the only reason why you wouldn't book a session with me, then just ask for it for Christmas, right? Just say, Mom, Dad, Grandma, please buy me a VOD review from Fragger Mike. Now at the start of this video I told you were gonna make a smart decision, and if you are a casual player then the smarter decision is to just forget about this video. But if your goal is to go pro, then you know what to do. And once again I want to remind you not to be a passive learner, be an action taker, because I have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube and I'm only letting 10 people join this session. So yeah, you do the math. If you don't act fast, your opportunity might be gone. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, then click the first link in the description to find out more information about the Ultimate VOD Review session. And otherwise, click on the button below that says book a session. As always, keep grinding boys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.